Hi Aries, here is your love and relationship reading for the month of October. I have already pre-shuffled and laid out the cards, so we're going to get straight into the reading. I have slightly altered the format, but overall I think it should be okay, but we'll see. You can give me your feedback anyway. Now, here we have the Moon card, which is a major arcana, okay? Now, this has fallen within the position of how you may be feeling about your partner or your relationship, okay? Now, this reading is for people who are exclusively in an already committed relationship, okay? What this card indicates is that you may go through a period of indecision in regards to your feelings about your partner or relationship. It shows a decision is needed to be made, okay? It can show that you may be feeling disillusioned, that you may have lost some perspective. You may be feeling the need for solitude at the moment. So it is possible that your partner may feel that you have started to pull away from them in some way. Now, this could be in regards to you either doubting this relationship or doubting your position within this relationship, okay? The problem is when we're seeing things through the light of the moon, our judgment can be slightly clouded because we can't see things properly, okay? It's very much a card about you needing to discover your inner longings and feelings now. For some reason, I'm just picking up that you have kind of had a crisis of faith in regards to them or the relationship in general, in regards to whether you wish to step out of the water and possibly end the relationship, or whether you wish to stay in this relationship. Now, obviously, this is not going to apply to every Aries person, okay? It is a very specific feeling and message that I'm picking up here. But I feel for a lot of you, you are actually deciding whether this is the right person for you. Now here, for the position of your partner, we have the same question, okay? This time we have the Three of Swords. Now, the Swords is an air element, okay? It represents Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Doesn't mean you're dealing with one of those signs, okay? Now, the air element as well is all in connection with our minds, okay? Our thinking, our thoughts, our logic. Your partner, I feel, is very much picking up on the way you are feeling at the moment. I've already explained with the Moon card how you could possibly be feeling, okay? It is possible that your partner is feeling lonely within this relationship and is possibly feeling somewhat rejected by you. They could feel that they could be picking up on a feeling that they have already started to lose you to some degree, okay? But this card talks about communication, that it is vital that your partner and you talk to each other. You don't ignore what is going on, and that you must open up the communication lines in order to get this relationship back on track. Now, I have to be honest with you, sometimes the Three of Swords can talk about three people being in the relationship. Now, I'm not implying that you, the Aries, have strayed outside of the relationship, but I have to be honest and say that it is a possibility that some of you, maybe a very small portion, but some of you may have, which has created, obviously, this heartbreak, this loneliness, and this feeling of rejection within your partner. If that is not the case, then most definitely they are feeling this way because they are feeling that they are losing you. Because you may have become very distant towards them, and you may have been isolating yourself to some degree within this relationship because you yourself are questioning what you need and what you want, okay? Now, for the position of how things can work out within this relationship, I'm pleased to see we have the Six of Wands, okay? Now, the Wands is your own energy. It is a fire energy. And the fire energy is for yourselves, Aries, also Leo and Sagittarius. The Wands is the fire energy is very much an action energy, okay? It's a doing energy. It's all to do with our actions. What this card is indicating that there most definitely has been conflicts and arguments between you and your partner, okay? And maybe that is why you have felt the need to isolate yourself and felt the need to make decisions in what you want and what you don't want, okay? Whether to stay or whether to go. And maybe the arguments and conflict and the way you are feeling and coming across has caused your partner to have the energy that I've described with the Three of Swords. But this card is about victory. This man has come back from a conflict, battles, and has won, okay? And everybody's come out to give him a pat on the back and say, well done. So I feel very much that if the communication lines can be opened up between you and your partner, then you could both have this victory within the relationship. But it's going to need communication. It's going to need honest communication. Communication that where you may speak your truth and it may hurt the other person, but in order to put things right and to heal things, that communication is going to be vital. Because I do feel that this relationship can get back on track. There can be a victory within this relationship, but it's going to require communication. I can't emphasize that enough, because I feel in the past it's been possibly a lot of arguments when nobody has been listening to each other, that you both have wanted to get your point of views across, but you haven't actually listened to the other person's point of view either. So if the victory is to come in this relationship, then this is what is going to be required. Positive communication now, okay? Honest and openness. Now here, in the position of what is needed to be improved is literally what I've just been speaking about. We have the 5 of Wands, okay? 5 in any suit is not a good number. But this is what I've just mentioned, that there has been too many arguments, I think, within this relationship, that neither of you have been listening to each other. You've been shouting over each other. And if you can sit down and calmly talk about any problems, then you can have the victory there with the 6 of Wands. But it's going to require, as I said, open and honest communication. It's going to require compromise from both sides. Now here, in the position of other aspects of the relationship to consider, we have a major arcana. It is the Emperor, and the Emperor traditionally is the Aries card, okay? You can see the 2 rams here, and, you know, and the 2 at the top of the chair, okay? Now, the Emperor can often indicate that neither person is going anywhere in terms of this relationship, because the Emperor's energy is very much an energy. They don't just walk away from problems. They deal with problems head on, okay? They are very loyal, and they don't just give up at the first hurdle or the first sign of trouble. But the thing with the Emperor is the Emperor can be somebody who likes to be the head of the house, who likes to be in charge. And maybe that's where there's been some confliction within this relationship. That maybe both of you have wanted to play the lead within this relationship. That both of you have wanted to be in control and be the head of the house. Because Aries can, it has to be said, they can be quite forceful and quite domineering, and they do most times like to be in charge. Not in a negative way, but it's just the energy that's with them, okay? It can be a card as well about using your logic, and a card about having willpower and strength, because those are the qualities that the Emperor has. So again, I feel the thing is, within any relationship, it's not always possible to have two heads of the household, okay? It isn't always possible to have two people in charge, because then you can get this conflicting, situation going on. Now, I'm not saying that it means that one needs to literally be the doormat and needs to lay down and allow the other person to make all the decisions. Of course, it's going to require compromise, okay? But I feel that, again, these arguments that have taken place have been possibly because of one wanting to be in charge more than the other, one wanting to make the decisions, and the other person feeling that their decision or their needs don't matter as much as the other person's. So, I feel it's about both of you having the strength and the willpower to get through this very conflicting time that you've been going through, and that both of you trying to create a more equal stroke balanced relationship, whereby on some things maybe one is slightly more in charge and on other things maybe the other is. But it's about creating a balance, okay? Listening to each other, having balance, and making compromises, okay? Now, for the final outcome of this relationship, we have the Nine of Cups. Now, the Cups is a water energy that represents Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio, okay? Now, it is the Nine of Cups. Sorry. And it's a good card. It's a card about starting to enjoy the good life again. It's a card about comfort and happiness. It's about a card of strengthening of a romantic bond. Satisfaction on all levels, okay? It's often referred to as the wish card. That if you wish for something now, it could very well come true. The only downside sometimes is sometimes you have to be careful what you do wish for, because sometimes you can get what you wish for and then actually realise you didn't want it after all. So just be warned that what you may be wishing for, you may very well get, but make sure it is actually what you want. It can be a card as well that somebody could be daydreaming, okay, about how they want something to be, but they're not taking action on making their daydreams or fantasies or wishes a reality. Because to sometimes have what you want, you can't just sit back and expect it to fall into your lap. It does require actions from you, or from the other person, or from both of you, to make those wishes or those dreams a reality. is very much a card about whatever you want can happen, but you have to make it happen. You can't just sit back being very complacent and expecting it to just happen by some miracle on its own. So I feel that you, the Aries, have either already started to feel that a decision is required for this relationship and how you feel about it, or you're going to feel like that in this month now of October. Your partner, I feel is sensing you pulling away to some degree. This has either created a lot of conflict and arguments between both of you, or there have been a lot of conflicts and arguments in the past that has now created this feeling within you. But victory can be there in this relationship if, as I said, the communication lines can become opened and you can both come from a place of honesty and actually talking to each other and telling each other what you both want and need, what you will both accept and not accept. I feel that compromise is needed in this relationship, and that in all areas of this relationship, it's not possible to have two people in charge. And I feel that there is this battle that maybe goes on between the two of you in terms of who is more in charge within this relationship. And maybe, that's what needs to be addressed. That the feeling that somebody is more in charge than the other is not right. That yes, some decisions you'll make, some decisions they will make. But as I said, a compromise is needed. This relationship can most definitely work out. Okay? We have the wish card there. But for things to work out, it's going to require actions. You cannot just sit back and assume that everything will work itself out on its own, because it won't. If you want this relationship to work out, you are going to have to act and do things to make that possible. So there we go, Aries. That does conclude your relationship reading. A very specific message here again. I've had that a lot with my readings lately. Look, it is a general reading. It's not going to apply to every Aries out there, okay? There's no way. Maybe some of this reading will resonate, maybe all of it, maybe none of it, okay? But overall, it may have started on a negative note, this reading, but it's certainly ending on a very positive one, okay? If you can just open up the communication lines and stop the arguing and the battles for who needs to be more in control, okay? So there, if you have liked this reading, please give it the thumbs up. If you haven't, by all means give it the thumbs down. Any feedback you wish to give me, I will be very grateful for. You know by now, I always reply to every message you give me. I really do appreciate the time you take to leave me a message. And look, if you do wish a private reading, then please email me. You will find all my contact details in the description box. My email address is lisa.groundcoppermill@gmail.com, lowercase l for Lisa. And And once again, you know, I just hope you have a great October, and I hope you've enjoyed this reading, and I will see you again in November. Thank you. Bye.